I stopped doing a few things and my skin literally started to look younger in just 30 days. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but in this video, I want to share with you the 5 things I didn't realize were aging me and which one made the biggest difference. Let's start with the one that was hardest for me to admit, and that was my glass of red wine to relax in the evening. It kind of became my evening routine to unwind. I would pour a glass of red wine, finally sit down, and it just felt like the way to switch off. Something I did almost every night without thinking about it. And because it was just one glass, I never questioned it. I thought it was harmless, even healthy in a way. But alcohol ages your skin more than you think. It dehydrates you, increases inflammation, and breaks down collagen, exactly what you don't want as you get older. Collagen is what keeps your skin firm and youthful. So I stopped drinking alcohol to see if my skin would get better. And it definitely did. First of all, I'm not waking up puffy anymore. My skin looks clearer and I just look more refreshed in the morning. Okay, so next, I stopped doing high intensity cardio. I always had a gym membership, but every time I walked into the gym, all the machines and weights felt just intimidating. I always thought that's not for me. I'm not a bodybuilder. So the only thing I ever felt comfortable with was the treadmill. And it was the only thing I actually knew how to use. So it just became my routine. So I would go to the gym and basically just run. But as I got older, it started feeling worse instead of better. My knees would ache, and instead of building muscle, I was losing it. And I would get these intense cravings afterward. Then I started seeing all these trainers online talking about strength training and how important it is for your body as you age. So I decided to give it a try. I stopped all the intense running and started lifting weights. Now I still do cardio, but it's low intensity, like incline walking. And honestly, that change alone made me feel stronger, more in control of my body, and just more youthful overall. Okay, next, I stopped snacking between meals. My mornings were usually pretty busy, so I'd just grab something quick like overnight oats for breakfast. Lunch was often something simple like a ham and cheese sandwich, but then around 3 or 4 p.m., I would get these intense cravings and I would just grab whatever I could find, a chocolate bar, nuts, chips, whatever really. And I've always had this all or nothing mindset with food. So for me, it was never just a piece of chocolate. I would end up eating the whole bar. Same with nuts. I wouldn't just have a handful like a normal person. I would eat the entire bag. So basically, I stopped buying snacks altogether because I knew I couldn't really control it. A lot of it was emotional too. Chocolate when I was stressed or sad, and more salty snacks when I was bored. But it was definitely messing with me. And from a skin perspective, I think this was breaking me out more than anything else. It was this constant cycle breakouts, slow healing, dark spots afterward, dull skin, and it just kept repeating. So I changed it. Now I'm starting my mornings with high protein breakfast. Every meal is balanced, and that alone reduced those cravings a lot. I mean, I still have snacks sometimes, don't get me wrong, especially during my cycle when I'm more hungry. But it's usually something simple like a banana with peanut butter or an apple with almond butter. And now it just feels so much more under control, and my skin definitely reflects that. Okay, next, I stopped avoiding healthy fats. I used to be really calorie focused and would literally count everything. When I saw that just 1 tablespoon of olive oil has around 120 calories, I completely freaked out and thought that's not worth it. So I started cutting out almost all fats. I avoided avocados, extra virgin olive oil. I switched all dairy to low fat. And even with meat, I always went for the leanest option. Chicken breast instead of thighs, and even eggs were mostly egg whites. At the time, I thought I was doing something healthy, but I was basically removing one of the most important nutrients for woman's body and hormones. What changed my mind was realizing how important healthy fats are, especially for glowing skin and hormone balance, and also noticing my cycle becoming irregular, which had never really happened before. That's when I started connecting the dots. Now I eat at least half an avocado a day. I use extra virgin olive oil on salads and veggies. I eat fatty fish like sardines a few times a week. And I don't avoid things like a good beef patty anymore. And I can see a huge difference in how my skin looks. Plump, clear, glowing, and honestly, just healthier overall. Last thing changed everything for me. And it had nothing to do with food or exercise. I stopped thinking simple skincare was enough. For the longest time, I kept my skincare really simple. I would use something like beef tallow or just basic moisturizer. And I thought because I was eating healthy and I'm staying hydrated, that was enough. But as I got older, I started noticing that it wasn't. My skin just wasn't improving the way I expected. I was also avoiding a lot of ingredients just because I didn't understand them, especially sunscreen. I kept hearing things like it gets absorbed into your bloodstream, it disrupts hormones, all of that. So I just avoided it unless I was at the beach. Then one day, I was sitting outside with a friend on a really hot summer day, by the way, and we started talking about SPF. I told her I wasn't using it. Of course, she was dramatic and started lecturing me, and then she pulls out her phone and shows me this study of identical twins. One wore sunscreen consistently, and the other didn't. Well, huge difference. One looked at least a decade older. That was the moment everything clicked for me. So now my routine is a bit more intentional. I use sunscreen every single day, mostly mineral, but I'm not overly worried about chemical ones anymore. I also use a vitamin C serum in the morning, a barrier supporting milky toner, and I've added retinoids. First adapalene, and now I'm trying retinol. And that's when I really started seeing a huge difference in my skin texture. My skin is smoother, my tone is more even, and even my fine lines look softer. I mean, don't get me wrong, my skincare routine is still pretty simple, but I definitely feel like just adding these few products made the biggest difference in how good my skin looks now. If you're curious, I link the exact products I'm using in the description. Those are the 5 things I stopped doing and what I do instead. And honestly, I've never felt better in my skin than I do now. And if there is something you stopped doing that made a difference for you, let me know in the comments. If you found this helpful, a like would really help my channel grow, and I see you in the next one.